Have you ever been editing a video and then out of nowhere it just starts glitching into a glitch? Yeah, it's not fun, but thankfully there are ways to resolve it. So today I'll be sharing the 5 best ways to make DaVinci Resolve run smoother so that you can speed up your workflow. And if you're serious about speeding up your workflow and taking your video editing to the next level, you'll love what today's sponsor, Bro VFX, has to offer. The Bro Pack is an essential tool that you need in your arsenal. Let's talk about what makes this pack so special. You see, the Bro Pack offers a fantastic collection of transitions, effects, and presets designed specifically for DaVinci Resolve. These high-quality transitions ensure that your cuts are smooth and professional, giving your videos a polished and professional look that stands out. Whether you're editing a cinematic masterpiece or a quick social media post, the Bro Pack has you covered. And it works for both the free and studio versions of DaVinci Resolve. So whichever one you have, you're covered. One of the standout features is the customizable effects. And you can add stunning visual enhancements to your footage with ease with these effects. Each effect is fully customizable, allowing you to tweak and adjust it until it perfectly fits your project's needs. This flexibility means you can maintain your unique visual style while benefiting from professionally crafted effects. Another feature that I love about the Bro Pack is that it has this drag and drop ease of use, which means you won't have to be a tech wizard or anything to make your videos look amazing. You simply drag and drop the effects and transitions onto your timeline and you're just good to go. It's that simple. But that's not all. The Bro Pack also includes a fantastic collection of sound effects, so whether you need ambient sounds, swooshes, or dramatic hits, these sound effects can add that extra layer of immersion to your videos, making them more engaging and dynamic. And let's not forget about the overlays. From light leaks to film grain, these overlays add texture and depth to your footage, giving it a professional and cinematic feel. I've personally been using the Bro Pack for my recent projects, and it has saved me so much time while giving my videos that extra polish. The combination of ease of use, high quality content, and regular updates makes it a no-brainer for any serious video editor, and the great thing is it is a one-time purchase, and that means that there are no subscriptions, no limits, no restrictions on projects, and that goes for both personal and commercial use. So if you want to take your editing to the next level, you should check out the Bro Pack by Bro VFX. Take a look at the link in the description below and use code Rocco30 to get 30% off today and elevate your editing game. The 5 best methods to make DaVinci Resolve run smoother that we'll be talking about today are timeline proxies, optimized media, media proxies, render cache, and render in place. However, before we get to the methods, it's important to set up your file storage locations properly within DaVinci Resolve. This ensures that your cached files, proxies, and other important data are all stored in the right place. Because depending on how much you use them and how regularly you purge old files, you can run out of space very quickly. It is for this reason that I recommend having an additional drive on hand for cache, whether it be an extra external SSD if you're working on a laptop, or installing a new drive on a custom-built machine if that's a viable option. Once you figure out where you want to put your cache files, launch DaVinci Resolve, open a project, and click on the gear icon at the bottom right corner to open the project settings. Under the Master Settings tab, scroll down to the Working Folder section. Click on the Browse button next to the proxy files and cache files and choose a folder with sufficient space on your storage drive. Finally, click Save to apply these changes. In addition to this, it may be beneficial to set these settings as a default preset, so that way you do not have to set this up over and over and over again each time you make a new project. But I only recommend doing this if you plan to use the same locations consistently for storing cache. But now that we have our storage locations figured out, let's dive into the various methods that we can employ to obtain smooth playback. First up is Timeline Proxy, which is a simple and easy way to improve playback almost immediately by lowering the resolution of the playback within the timeline. To use it, you have to go to the Playback menu and select Timeline Proxy mode. Choose either half or quarter resolution, and then your playback should hopefully improve. But if it doesn't, it may be worth trying one of these next methods. Next up is optimized media. This is a process that converts your media files into a format that's easier for DaVinci Resolve to handle. But I would only recommend using this if you are looking to make 1 or 2 troublesome clips run smoother. If you're looking to make a large pool of clips run smoother, then the next method I'm about to mention will work better. To set up your optimized media formats, head to Project Settings and scroll down to Optimized Media and Render Cache. Here, I recommend setting the optimized media resolution to automatic and then the format to DNX HRSQ. Now that that is set up, if you ever have a troublesome clip, you can right-click on it and hit Generate Optimized Media, and it will create an optimized version of the clip. The third method is using proxies. Proxies are lower resolution versions of your original media files. Using these can be beneficial for assembling an edit since the lower resolution leads to smaller file sizes, which means quicker processing times. However, if you're planning on doing color grading, it may not always be best to use proxies, but that will depend on the type of proxy file you are creating. To customize the proxy files that will be generated, go to Project Settings and scroll down on the Master Settings tab to the section labeled Optimize Media and Render Cache. From there, you can choose your proxy media resolution and format. If you want small size proxy files just for smooth editing and not for color grading, I recommend setting the resolution to half in the media format to H.265 or DNxHR-LB. And if you want proxy files that will be alright for most color grading scenarios and are fine with a larger file size, I would leave it at full resolution and set the format to DNxHR-HQ. Once you have that set up, you can generate proxies by going to your media pool, right-clicking on your clips, and selecting Create Proxies. And now DaVinci Resolve will generate proxy files for your media, placing the proxy files in the locations that we determined earlier. Once the files are generated, you can go to the top of the media player and select the proxy option to prefer proxies. If you want to switch it back to the original media files, you can toggle it to prefer camera originals or disable all proxies. The fourth method we'll be talking about today is render cache. And render cache is a powerful feature in DaVinci Resolve that significantly enhances your editing workflow. And it does this by improving playback performance and reducing rendering time. It works by temporarily storing process frames in the memory on your disk, allowing for smoother real-time playback and quicker edits. And unlike optimized media and proxies, render cache can render added effects and color grades. DaVinci Resolve offers two main types of render cache: Smart Cache and User Cache. Smart Cache automatically caches clips that DaVinci Resolve determines to be processor intensive. It's a set and forget approach where DaVinci Resolve decides which clips to cache based on their complexity. And you can identify which clips have been cached based on the red bar that will appear above them on the timeline, and that bar will turn blue as the caching completes. Now for User Cache, you manually select which clips you want to cache. This gives you more control over the caching process and allows you to prioritize specific clips and effects. You can choose which of these options you want to use under the Playback menu. Personally, I prefer to use User Cache, but regardless of that, there are a few additional settings you will want to take a look at. Go to the Master Settings and scroll down to the Optimize Media and Render Cache submenu. If you are using Smart Cache, you can select how long Resolve should wait after losing full playback to begin caching. I would recommend setting this to 1 second, but it will lead to more cache being generated, which takes up more space. If you are planning on using User Cache, you have the option to enable automatic caching of transitions and compositions, as well as fusion effects. Okay, so I'm kind of a goofball, and I forgot to tell you how to create render cache for a clip, and it's actually really simple. If you're in user mode, you just right-click on the clip and then hit Render Cache, Color Output or Fusion Output. I prefer to use Color Output, so right-click, go to Render Cache, Color Output. If you're using Smart Cache, it'll just automatically choose which clips should be cached. One really great thing about render cache is that it can be managed extremely easily within DaVinci Resolve. Once you're done with the project, you can delete your render cache with ease by navigating to Playback and then clicking Delete Render Cache. Last up, for number 5 on this list, we have Render in Place. And this feature is fairly new, and it allows you to render clips directly in the timeline without affecting the rest of your project. To use it, right-click on the clip you want to select Render in Place, and choose the desired settings. I personally set my format to QuickTime and the codec to DNxHR and the type to DNxHR-HQ. One of the great things about using this method is that you can render video effects and color effects with it, which ultimately will make things way easier when playing back those more render-intensive things on your timeline, and also when doing a final render. If you have rendered a clip in place and want to revert it back to how it was, you can right-click on the clip and then hit Revert to Original. My method for doing render in place always involves duplicating the clip onto the track above and then disabling the one at the bottom and rendering in place the one on top. That way I can just delete the one on the top and go back to the one on the bottom. That's just my method, but I figured I'd let you know just in case it would be useful to you. Those are the 5 best ways to speed up your playback within DaVinci Resolve. I hope these methods prove to be useful to you and that you're able to speed up your workflow. Anyhow, that's going to be all from me. If you enjoyed the video, you know what buttons to click. My name is Rocco, Jesus loves you, and I will see you in the next video.